Hey, good afternoon, Professor. This is Sean Chesser, and I'm going to do my effective leader report. The first thing I'd like to see is or talk about is the person who I selected. I selected a nurse practitioner, just because they, especially in the time that's what we have right now, everything that's going on, they are very important to us, and I think a lot of people don't realize all the work that they actually do. They're kind of in between. They're at the hierarchy of the nurses, but just below the doctor, but they can actually write prescriptions. And believe it or not, a lot of people actually see nurse practitioners, not doctors, when they go in when they're sick. When I was talking to this person, communication, she said, was one of her number one strengths. She said that communication actually came natural to her. She's always been a pretty great communicator. But as far as getting the skills and knowing what to communicate and some of the theories, a lot of that came through education as well. So between the two, her own natural strength and education, she's become a pretty good communicator. Communication is needed in her career mainly to direct staff members. She has like a team of like 15 members in her unit, and also other team members that help out. She collaborates outside agencies, so communication is used to get help outside of the agencies of her immediate facility. So say she has to send a patient down to get lab work done, and she talks and collaborates with them. She may talk to the x-ray techs, or if they have to have surgery, then she'll talk to those members of the hospital as well. The biggest thing is communicating with the patient so they understand what their diagnosis is and what the procedure entails. A lot of times patients, they're obviously want to know what's wrong. She stressed to me that basically she always tells them actually what it is. So if they actually have cancer, then it's not going to say maybe you have cancer or anything. They pretty much directly tell them what they have and then what their procedures are going to be for handling this and to try to find a cure. Listening is another big part of communication. This could be from her team members to co-workers to the patient's needs themselves. So listening, she stressed to me, was very huge in this profession. Organization, that's another big thing that is needed as far as a leadership skill. Organization skills is key to success in the healthcare profession. It can go from things like to make sure patients' charts are updated accurately and in a timely manner. With the meds and everything going on, there's tons of stuff going on with all the different patients, and they run around. And if they weren't organized, it could be very chaotic. You could actually give somebody the wrong medicine or give it to them at the wrong time. So organization is very key in this career field. Prioritizing what patients come first for care. Sometimes somebody may be in need of their help before another person. So they go through the list, and it kind of changes by the minute, she said, but normally they'll prioritize what patients need the most help at that time. Having everything in order for the new provider, so when they do like turnover, or if that patient, they're done and they're going to send them to a new provider for additional care, they need to be organized, clear of the plan forward for them, and just make sure everything is not missed and understood by both parties so they can do the best for this patient. Another big thing that she's talking about is setting goals for yourself. She basically started as an RN, went to several years of school, then decided, she wanted to move up, so she did a couple more years of school and got her BSN. And then after that, actually recommendations from her other coworkers said she would be a great nurse practitioner, so she decided to pursue that in her career, and she loves it. Another thing she told me is to set goals actually for personally for yourself. So don't, because sometimes this type of work, you kind of don't worry about what's going on with your body. Sometimes you're just because you're worried about everything else, but you need to get a healthy balance between your family and your work. So that's mentally and physically. The physical part is basically don't, miss anything on your part, because sometimes, you're so busy helping other people, you kind of ignore what's going on with yourself. Another thing she said is set attainable goals. Don't set goals that you can't achieve, because you don't want to be disappointed. So that was a big thing I learned. And then also to be positive, do your best, and treat others with respect, and be open-minded. So sometimes in their care, you could have a person who came in for drugs, or actually they could be the bad person in the situation where they were the person who killed somebody in a DUI, etc. But you need to treat everybody. They don't think about that part of it. They just treat the person who they are, and they're not very judgmental. They just care for that person and their needs at the time. The leadership style that closely relates to this person, I thought, was the Vroom Jagot model. According to Dat, Vroom Jagot model is very applied, which tells a leader precisely the correct amount of participation by subordinates to use when making a decision. Basically, what that means is if she needs to make a decision like right away, say somebody's bleeding out, or they need to, bam, get something fixed right away, she can do that. But then after everything settles down in the dust, then she can actually delegate stuff. Sometimes they don't know what's going on with the person, and that's when they use collaboration. They'll have a meeting with other doctors and nurses and put all their heads together and try to figure out what's going on in the best for this patient. Lessons that I've learned from this leader. One thing I learned is education is very important to become a great leader. So basically, she kind of inspired me to go back to school. I'm in, my 40s here. I've retired from the military, but, I still work, and I've found that these classes have really helped me broaden my skills, and also learning from other great leaders like herself. Having the knowledge and the skills to be competent at your job. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage guy, a jet guy like me, I work on aircraft, a nurse practitioner, as long as you do the best you can and be the great and learn everything that your possible skills in communication, then school will help you, as long as in your own skills as well. Treating people with respect was a big thing I got from her. Basically, don't judge people for what choices they make. As I was saying earlier, some of them are drug addicts or whatever that they care for, but it's not our place to judge. We can give them help after and try to have them make better decisions in their life, but at the time, basically, you're there just to help them. Communication is the key to any career. I can't say how important this is, because it doesn't matter if it's like you telling us how to do a specific task, or me at my work telling people like in an engine change, or this nurse practitioner telling other staff members. Basically, communication is key, and it goes by how we communicate with other people and how our communication comes across. I mean, some leaders they come across kind of abrasive, where others are maybe not don't come across as if it's important. So knowing how to communicate is very, very important. Listening to the whole story before in a scenario before jumping to conclusions is another thing she told me. With patients, they could say, "Hey, I got a fever or a cough or whatever," and you could just say, "Oh, automatically you have this." But no, just sit there and listen. There's probably a lot more to it. You can get so much out of it. As me being an aircraft mechanic, a lot of times I'll listen to the pilots intensely to figure out what is going on. I don't cut them off and say, "Hey, it's just this or that," or whatever. I listen to the whole story before I jump to conclusion. And the last thing I learned from her is to take care of yourself. A lot of times we forget about, our eating habits or our exercise or finding something joy or peace to put our mind aside. after all the stuff we deal with in everyday life. To conclude this, this was a very eye-opening experience for me to get to talk to such a great leader. I found our healthcare workers are basically heroes, especially at what is going on right now with this COVID. I mean, they don't miss a day of work. They're there for everybody. And I learned how much they sacrifice without a blink of an eye, and they provide care to anybody without being judgmental. These skills every day with collaborating with each other to provide the best care to everybody, our loved ones, to make this world a better place. Basically what I learned is have a lot of patience. My biggest thing, which I have an issue with, is listening, so I took that from it. And education, keep getting educated on this stuff. We learn all through all these different theories and everything, but honestly, a lot of people think it's crazy, but you can use all these theories and kind of come up with your own, with a combination of these, or you can basically use one of these theories, but it has greatly helped me in my work, and obviously it's helped out the healthcare profession with doing everything that they do for us every day. Anyway, I hope this works, and I'm sorry that I had to do a video, but my computer was not doing very well with the voiceover. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.